Hi, Darryl. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello.
So I have Darryl Sequeira here, and he has had a near-death experience, and we're bringing him on to share a little bit about his story and tell us a little bit about his life. So, Darryl, if you just want to start off by telling me where you're from, maybe a little bit
Mhm.
about your childhood growing up before we get into the
Yeah.
later stages of your life, that would be great.
So I'm from India, but the thing is, I was born and brought up in Dubai, and in Dubai, I don't know if you know, but like if you're not an actual local of like if you're not from the place like an Emirati, you cannot get the passport of the country. So that's why I just got the passport of what my parents had. So my parents are from India, so I'm from India as well, and so I grew up in Dubai, and then it like I did awesome in school. Like I was a really smart student, and I my parents wanted me to go to university neither in America or Canada because at that time the further education levels in Dubai weren't that great, and my parents wanted me to have a lot of opportunity. So I applied to a bunch of universities in Canada, and the first one to accept me was UNB, University of New Brunswick. So I decided to go to University of New Brunswick then, and I was in engineering. Now, because I guess you could say I'm a typical Indian in the fact that my parents would made me study a lot because I guess because that's what's expected of us. I don't know, but so
Sure.
yeah, I was really smart. So when I got to my first year of university, and that was where the crazy part happened because I was just lived under when I was growing up in Dubai. I just lived completely under my parents' rule. Like I had you could say I had no mind of my own. I never had to make any of my own decisions. I would just listen to whatever my parents wanted me to do. And then I go to university. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's complete freedom for me. And the first few friends, obviously, because I'm from India, the first few friends I made while at university from there were from India as well. And it's funny because the year 2004, and that was the first year a lot of students who are natives of India went to the university because UNB in St. John was just a tiny university, just 2,000 students at that time. And like there were very few internationals, only main internationals over there were Chinese, but then the Chinese are all over the world. So, anyways, yeah, so so I was in university with and there was the first a lot of Indians came. So I made friends with all those Indians, but it turns out those Indians were you could say among the cool group, like they would go out and party and drink and stuff. So obviously, as soon as they found out that I didn't drink and stuff like that, they got to start drinking immediately. And because I had no idea about drinking and stuff, they would just keep on buying me drinks until I got drunk. And then I would just do stupid things and not remember anything at all. But they would just laugh at me at my expense. And fortunately, when I would wake up the next morning, I wouldn't remember a thing, but they'd always remind me of what I would do. And I'm just like, I don't remember. It's all right. So that's how my whole first day went. But then because I told you, because I was just studying so much when I was in high school in Dubai, basically my first year of university in St. John was my final year of high school in Dubai. So I didn't study a word, and everyone thought I was gonna fail because I was in engineering, the hardest degree at the time over there. And because I told you, because all the knowledge was all in my head. I finished my first year, passed everything, no problem at all, and everyone's so stunned. I'm just like, this is high school stuff for me, and because I guess Canadians hadn't learned all that stuff when they were in high school, right? So they just didn't expect that. But they just the whole Indian community had no trouble at all with our first year of university.
So
And
just to kind of summarize here, so you came over to to Canada after being in Dubai, very well educated, very academic, smart.
yes,
You say like not a mind of your own, and then you're kind of like drinking, which is also like bringing you further away from your own intuition.
yes.
So take us into okay, you've arrived, all these, experiences are unfolding for you. Think, oh, total freedom. I get to make all my choices. And then what happens that brings you to your death experience?
So there was the start of my second year again, and this time, I have no memory of this at all. Like even though I'm completely recovered now, I still have no memory of this at all. This is just what like when I went back to university in 2006. Like that's what like my roommate was another guy who was in an accident with me, my good friend. So and he told me everything, and like I'm going to tell it to you in a funny way, and I'll tell you the reason why as well. So okay, so I returned to university in 2005. We are living off campus. I have no memory of this at all because I thought we like I'll tell you later as well. But so we're living off campus, and it was a first class bash. The first class bash got done, and we were all heading home. Now, like my friend told me I was supposed to leave earlier with another friend of mine, but because everyone loved getting me drunk and because I would do stupid things, they forced me to stay on. So I guess I stayed on, and then so yeah, we all heading back home, and everyone was drunk. And I got so drunk that guess I passed out in the SUV. And it turns out the driver was drunk as well. And the driver wasn't my friend, but he was an acquaintance because he was a friend of a really good friend of mine. So we are just like a minute away from my house. And but the thing is, because St. John is like one of the oldest cities of Canada, it's still not developed that much either. Beside the sidewalks on the street I lived on were open sewers. So basically, it's like a huge long row of a ditch, really long ditch, you could say. So to being drunk, the driver thought he could take a shortcut by driving over the sidewalk because it's quicker to the apartment like that. So he goes over the sidewalk, forgets about the ditch. So the SUV just falls down and hits like nose first, flips over instantly 3 times in a row. Because I was asleep, I just fly forward, hit my head on the roof of the car, splits wide open, and I fall comatose instantly. And see, this is a funny part. Like, I mean, to me, not to anyone
Find
else.
humor in
No,
a
no.
horrific
So,
situation.
so then, like, when the car stopped rolling and moving around, my friend, like my ex-roommate who was sitting beside me, said, when he looked at me, he thought I was dead because I was lying in a pool of my own blood. Guess what I asked him next?
I don't
Just
know.
guess. I asked him, did he click a picture?
Oh,
And he got so upset. He's like, you asshole. I thought you were dead. And he asked me if I clicked a picture. I'm like, obviously, that would be the coolest picture in the history of humanity. Imagine someone lying there in their pool of their own blood and you didn't click a picture. But then, yeah, obviously, I guess, fortunately for us, the hospital was just 2 minutes away. So the ambulance comes immediately, almost immediately, cuts open the car with the jaws of life, and takes everyone to the hospital. And everyone else is like the driver broke both his legs, the front seat passenger broke his left arm, my friend broke his right arm, and another friend just got out with a few cuts and bruises. But because I was the one asleep, I got sent to the ICU, and I was because I was in a coma. And when I'm in the ICU now, the doctor calls the university. The university calls my parents back home in Dubai, and my dad flies over as soon as he can. When he reaches the hospital, the doctor's like, "Your son has like a best scenario 10% chance of survival because if I lost more than 40% of my blood and more than half my brain got destroyed, which is the reason why I should be dead actually because I've read so many statistics and medical statistics and that nothing says I should be alive basically. So, but then that's the other reason. Like that's why I think I take things funny now because like when my accident happened, the complete right hemisphere of my brain got destroyed, and it turns out that the right hemisphere of your brain is responsible for feeling stressed, anxious, and all those negative feelings. So I'm guessing because I was dead when I woke up, I just took life as funny, you could say. But then yeah, so all that the doctor says all of that. So, but instead, like I miraculously wake up 2 weeks later, and the doctor says it's too early, so it puts me in an induced coma for another week. So when I wake up after 21 days now, he tells me that I'm going to be a quadriplegic for the rest of my life.
so you
So
woke up from the coma and they were like, no, we're putting you back in?
yes,
And
because the doctor said it's needed for me to recover more, but see that's the funny thing. When I did wake up. I guess I don't remember any of this, but my dad told me like I had no idea what was happening. So I just wanted to get off the hospital bed and I guess leave. But I obviously had no energy to the. So if I did manage to stand up, I would just fallen flat on my face. So they had to clamp me onto the bed, and like it is while clamping me onto the bed, they accidentally clamped my chest, so I have a scar of that over here. I don't remember any of that, but that's just what my dad told me. So then, yeah, so like I don't know what, but it's because I told you, right, St. John is such an old city. The hospital with the ICU was just built the previous year. So if I had had my accident happen the previous year, I would have had to be flown to Halifax to be in the hospital. Then I would have died in the flight because of how serious my injuries were. But so like I've had all these lucky instances which actually helped me, which were beneficial for my case. But so anyways, yeah. So the doctor tells me that I will be a quadriplegic for the rest of my life. So then I start moving. 2 weeks later, the doctor says I can never walk again. I take my first steps like about 3 months later, and then no, sorry, 2 months later, and then the doctor tells my dad. I mean, before the doctor can say anything else to my dad flies me all the way back home to Dubai to be in the hospital over there, and that's where I get my first memories in the hospital in Dubai in December. So my accident happened in September, and my first memories are in December.
Okay. And your dad was saying, we're taking you out of this hospital and going back to Dubai because.
Because mainly because my mom wanted to be with me, because my mom and me are like this. You can't separate us when we're together. And my mom wanted to be with me, and but she couldn't leave because when my accident happened, my younger brother was still in high school, so she had to be there for him, right?
Sure. Okay.
So anyways, so like yeah, so when I get to the hospital in Dubai, that's when I get my first memories. But see, that's the crazy part because when I was in my the comatose and not conscious for like from September to December, I was dreaming or I had a vision. I will say I had a vision because I told you half my brain was just destroyed. So I didn't have the capacity to dream. But so when in my vision, I was still in my second year of university. But the only difference was that instead of living off campus, I was living in the same room I lived in my first year in the residence. But in my vision, the crazy thing is, time went by so fast that I finished my second year of university and I went back home to Dubai to celebrate my summer vacations. One morning in August, when I'm watching TV, I'm just watching TV, and then all of a sudden, when I blink and open my eyes, I'm in a hospital bed in a lot of pain. I'm barely able to move, and I couldn't even scream because my vocal cords were damaged back then. And I was just like, "What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on?" And eventually, made a small squeaking sound, and someone was at the end of the bed, and she turns around and looks at me, and I look at her face, and I'm saying, "It was my mom." And I got so happy when I saw my mom, but I couldn't obviously display that. But so my mom sees how puzzled my face looks. She tells me everything. So she tells me I was in a coma after a car accident. And I could not believe any of this because my vision seems so real. So basically, like then like when I'm in the hospital in Dubai, that was I was in there in the hospital in Dubai from December to April 2006. So basically, I was in a hospital completely from September 2005 to April 2006. When, but still, like even though I was like in the hospital, I was in so much pain, and like I was getting all like medical physiotherapy and occupational therapy. In my mind, still everything like I was still thinking none of this is real, none of this is real. Like, and because doctors were saying, even in Dubai, doctors were saying I'm going to face so many difficulties and stuff. But when I left the hospital in April, I'm like I just told myself I'm just going to get better. I don't care if no one believes me. I'm going to get better because my parents were the ones who gave me the confidence because they told me I'm going to get better, completely better. And so I'm just like, so I told my parents I want to go back to university in 2006, less than a year after my accident. So I go back to university. I'm doing engineering. Don't understand a word because how to half like I'm guessing half my brain was still dead. So I keep on switching programs and I finally found sociology. And it's so funny because usually after comas, people become way more reserved. However, I turned out to be the complete opposite. I became so open. I was like, just want to accept everyone in my life. So I would just talk to anyone randomly, no problem at all. And the funny thing was, my memory was still so bad, so I could not remember people's names. I couldn't remember what I would talk to them about. I'll just talk to anyone about anything basically. But then I'm guessing that's what really helped me with my recoveries because I told you I would not go to doctors. And the other thing is, I did not touch prescription drugs. Not a single prescription drug, and I still would keep on recovering. And I'm like, okay, I don't need anyone else to care about. I just need myself. So that's exactly what I did. Like I went was in university, and here's a funny thing again, I mean, to me at least. Before I started university in September 2006, I go to meet my original neurologist who was like looking after me when I was in my coma, who told my dad I wouldn't survive and I'd be completely paralyzed and everything. And he tells my mom, because flew with me when I go back. She tells my mom, I can only return to university in 2011, September 2011. Guess when I graduated? April 2011. And so during my university year, which is between September 2006 to 2000, April 2011, I was in the Indian Students Association. And this was in 2008, I think. We threw an event, and it was like the biggest event in St. John of that in that year, because I told you there's nothing happening in St. John. So for that event, my neurologist came to it, and it turns out I had a solo dance performance in that. And while I was dancing, the international student advisor who was sitting beside him told him that that's Darryl, the boy who's in the accident and fell in a coma. The doctor could not believe his eyes. He was just like so shocked that he just left. Like he couldn't even congratulate me for proving him wrong. He just, because he was considered a big doctor of St. John, I guess he didn't want to be proven wrong. So he just left, and I was so shocked. I'm like, you should be like a man. You should actually
Yeah.
uh,
Congratulations,
face your.
right?
Sorry.
He should be congratulating you, right?
Yeah,
Proud,
I know that. Yeah, but
proud of
no,
your
but like, and but then I'm just like, yeah, that's why ever since then, I don't trust hospitals. I don't trust doctors anymore. I just know I just need to rely on myself and have the confidence that I can do whatever I set myself out, whatever purpose I set myself out to do.
Yeah. So, Daryl, can you talk to us a little bit about the vision that you did see of
Oh yes.
yourself
Okay. See,
finishing?
and see, yeah, I told you in my vision, I was in my second year of university back in 2006, and like the only difference was like before my regular person was I was a very reserved person before back then. I just didn't know how to have fun, which is why my friends would just get me drunk all the time, because then I would just do whatever and make them laugh and stuff. So in my vision though, I was just happy all the time. Like all my moments were full of love, you could say. Like even when I was in university, my second year of engineering class in engineering, I was just enjoying everything. Like every moment, I was just enjoying it to the max. And like that's what, like when I woke up, like that's what told me, like that was basically God coming to me, because God is love. But it's just like this is not a God of any religion. It's just God is pure love. That's it. So it doesn't have to be Christian or Muslim or Hindu or anything like that. He's just love. That's it. So that's what when I woke up also and I've understood eventually, I'm like, God came to me. So there must be a reason for that, and I'm just gonna prove that reason. And that's exactly what I did by recovering without any human aid, you can say.
Yeah, so help us understand, I know you said you did a little physical therapy, occupational therapy, things like that, but then
Yeah.
what did you, and obviously you had a beautiful mindset of like, I'm just
Mhm.
gonna do this, right? And
Yeah,
belief is
but yeah,
so
but
powerful.
but see that like a lot of crazy things happen to me, which can't be explained by myself or by doctors. Like this one time, when I was recovering, right, I had very poor balance. Like even a strong wind could just push me over, you could say. So this one time I was walking downstairs, I lost my balance. I fell down the stairs, and but when I fell down the stairs, I just got up and kept walking. And because you know why, that was just a year after my accident, and I think that was because that happened to me, my brain couldn't process that falling downstairs are supposed to fracture your bones or hurt you. I just was like, it's just a normal thing to me. So I just got up and kept on walking. This other time, I fell out of a moving car and I just burst out laughing. And this was my friends, like it was all my friends, like we were in the car with me, and we all got out of the car. But I was really slow in getting out, and the driver didn't realize it, so she accelerated. I just fell out, and I mean, I obviously hurt myself, but I just burst out laughing, and everyone thought I hit my head again. The reason they didn't understand, but the reason I burst out laughing was because like I was in a car accident which ended up with me being in a coma. So this such a minor car accident just seems funny to me.
Yeah,
But
like
obviously,
Not being, just not sweating the small stuff.
Yes, yes. So that's what like this no one could understand that. So like even though I had friends, you could say I didn't really have friends because no one really understood me after my coma. And even though I've recovered completely now, yeah, like I'll say I just have like one or two friends, and I know like hundreds of people, but none of them are my friends because none of them, no one really understands me because of what I experienced. But then I don't really blame them because I mean, like no one I know has had a near-death experience like I did. And the thing is that also like no, I don't think anyone ever will because every comatose situation is a different one. Like you just don't know. Even doctors, like even though we're supposed to be so advanced, even doctors don't know if a comatose patient is ever going to wake up or not. It's just based on the person himself, how strong he or she was.
Mm. Yeah, it's incredible that you've made such an amazing recovery. And so how long did it take from
Oh,
when you were
my recovery was from like I don't think I'll ever completely recover, but you could say, I mean, basically I'm completely recovered. If anyone looks at me, they won't think anything's wrong with me. And I just took from 2006 to 2022, you can say, until last year, basically. But it's, I mean, I got completely physically and mentally better by around 2020, you can say. So, I knew always knew it's going to be a long process because I wasn't going to take any help. I'm just going to rely on myself and like my parents love I can't tell you how like my parents love me is greater than the universe you can say like I'm just like my only focus was to make my parents feel happy again because I when I first saw them looking at me when I was in the hospital bed while comatose and how worried and distressed they were I'm like I can't live like this. I have to make my parents happy again and I can't tell you how happy my parents are right now with everything I've done like I finished my undergrad and got that degree and then I even got a graduate degree after that. So like I mean I've proven doctors wrong basically with what I've done and so that's why my parents are just so happy with how much I've accomplished. I've won sporting like I won table tennis awards. I danced, I told you so much, and then I've even written so many poetry. I've written so many poems and had them published as well. So I've done all these things which no one ever thought I could do, which is the reason why most of the people who know me don't really like me. I feel because I was supposed to be nothing at all, but here I've done accomplished so much more than them. So
well,
that's why I think I'm
really
not really
you really faced a lot of jealousy and envy because you
yes.
have been accomplished. And so how are you dealing with that?
No, I just think of how much my parents love me, and that's all I need. Seriously, like I mean, like I know the value of parental love, so I'm like I don't need anything else in this world now.
Beautiful. And so how do you think it has changed you from who you are, with, not having a mind of your own, drinking a lot, partying, to now what impact?
Like it's funny, but really think I really think destiny is real now, and I really feel that I was meant to fall in a coma because that only that way, only like basically half my brain getting erased allowed me to recover the way I wanted to. So now the person I am right now is the person I've always wanted to be. Because I remember I have my like another crazy thing about me is like after my waking up from a coma and recovering, I remembered memories from my when I was an infant, like that young. In my infancy, toddler memories and early childhood memories are much stronger than my teenage memories and early 20 memories. I don't know how that's possible, but I think it's because my brain came back to life, so my earliest memories came back to life with it too. I have no idea, but
Mm.
like it's again that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you really believe, as tragic as this was and as hard work that it took you to recover, this was really the gift you were waiting for.
Yes, I mean I'm so happy I fell in a coma, which is not. I don't think anyone would say that, but I'm just so happy about it.
That's
The main reason thing is I think is because like I fell in a coma and I have no memory of that incident at all. So I think that's the reason why. But if I did have a memory, I don't think I would be as happy about it as I am today.
That's a really good point. So you don't have these violent, aggressive, traumatic memories. You just woke up
No.
with this blissful experience. And then
Yes.
ability to recover, which is
Hmm.
amazing. Okay. And so is there any part of you that wants to share your story more to help other people or help
Yes.
doctors or
That's all. Like I've actually written a book on my experiences. It's 32,000 words, but like I've wanted to publish it, but I just don't trust any of the self-publishing companies. And then because I'm not really a recognized name, no actual publishing company is going to take my book and publish it because they think it's going to be. But I really feel my book would be a success because it's all about being beneficial to helping helping anyone basically who reads it. But and because they're going to read about what steps I took to recover, like no matter how small they were, everything worked in my benefit, you could say.
well, Dara, I'm quite sure that if you found the will and the strength to recover a massive accident and coming out of a coma, that you will find your way to get
Hmm.
your book published and
Oh,
provide that service to others. So I would just
hmm.
say keep going, keep doing all the beautiful things that you've been doing, and I truly feel like that will happen for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so what other than getting a book published, are there other things that
Oh,
you're
yeah, see, there's another funny thing. I mean, I'd say it's funny, but so okay, after I came from my coma, right, I actually was very angry. Like didn't want to display my anger, but I was so angry inside, like so angry because of the fact that I could not remember any of this and stuff, anything at all about my accident and nothing surrounding my accident, no memories of any of that. So I was just so angry inside. But then and like I would just listen to what I think watch programs, listen to music, and I'd still be angry. And then finally, I heard my first metal song, and that just calmed me down. So then I realized that metal music, I know people tell me I'm crazy, but even though it's really loud, it just makes me like a baby, you could say. So that like because of that, I just one time in 2013, I saw an ad on Facebook for this concert. It's called Heavy Montreal. It's like a weekend concert, metal concert in Montreal, and I go for it. And like I can't explain that. I wasn't headbanging. I mean, I was headbanging, but I wasn't in the mosh pit and hitting people. I was just headbanging and smiling. I was just so much at peace, at the possibly the time when you shouldn't feel peace. I was just the happiest guy ever. And so because of that, I went for the concert 5 times in a row, and I just loved each experience more and more. I actually like I've met so many of my favorite artists as well, and like the first thing I do is when I meet my favorite met any artist was just like I tell them I was in a coma. I was supposed to be dead, but God saved me. I'd always tell every one of them that because I want everyone to know. And this was not just artists. This was basically anyone I felt like talking to. I would always tell them about my accident. Always tell them God saved me because I want everyone to know like basically I have complete belief that God is real. Like I told you it's not like the God of any religion. It's just like a spiritual presence, you can say.
Sure. Yeah, and I think, we all know that music heals. It doesn't matter what type of music, right? It's a vibration
Yeah,
that is, there's sound healings of all different
yeah.
kinds. So whatever works for you, I think is
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful. And I'm just
Yeah.
so glad that you survived and you're here to share your story and
Mm-hmm.
teach other people that, you know, doctors don't always know what's
Yeah.
best. And if
Mm-hmm.
we have the will within us and the strength
Yeah.
and the perseverance, we can accomplish things far beyond, what we're told, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are there any last things that you would really want the people watching to know?
Yeah. If you have any dream you want to accomplish, like please just know you will eventually be able to do it. But don't think it's gonna happen tomorrow. Like you have to take small steps towards your dreams. It may take days, it may take weeks, it may take months, it may even take like years. But that's what it took me 18 years to recover completely. But I just never gave up on myself because I knew I was eventually going to get there. Like even though, like I know because I'm much older right now. Okay, before my accident, I was a pure athlete. Everyone would tell you I'm the fastest guy ever. I was the best guy at soccer. Like I would always win trophies. I would always win the top scorer award because I used to love this game so much. Like right now, I will say I'm not even half as good as at soccer as I was back then, but I've got so many other gifts in places where like I got this gift of talking to whoever I feel like talking to without getting drunk and doing stupid things to insult or embarrass myself. And then I had to have so much confidence in me right now. Like I just, if I want to do anything, I just go ahead and do it. And I told you, small steps, big steps, whatever way you think is best for you, that's the way you should follow. So yeah, just never give up on yourself is my main goal. I mean, the main theme to my life, basically.
Well, that's beautiful, Darryl. Thank you so much for sharing and inspiring the people that may be in a similar situation or just a difficult challenge in their life. I think these messages, putting them out there, provides more healing than we realize. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope
Thank
you,
you for having me.
yeah, I hope you continue to do great things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.